Good morning. In this session, we are going to discuss about one of the important concepts in programming in Java. That is the concept of threads and multi-threading. So, before starting to discuss the detailed concept of threads, there are a few points to be noted down. Threads are lightweight processes. It's not a complete program because it cannot run its own. So what we are doing is that we will break a large program into small pieces, and each of these small pieces have its own duty to be completed. This is what we call a thread. So by uniting multiple units or multiple threads into a single program, that is what is called a multi-threaded programming. So a large program or an enterprise application can be divided into small units or small tasks or small segments. Each of them has to perform its own task. These tasks are called threads. So when these threads are simultaneously executing, that is what is termed as a multi-threading. So the biggest advantage of a multi-threaded program is it can execute multiple threads at the same time, so that it can improve the performance of a program and efficiency of a program. So, so far we have discussed the program that contain a main function, main program, main method. In between we are performing different tasks. So that can be termed as a single threaded program. So that is the main difference between the single threaded and multi-threaded programming. So far we have discussed the programs like a single threaded program, that is a main thread. That is a main thread. Now onwards we are going to discuss a type of program that contain multiple threads, and we will discuss how these individual threads are executing independently to perform a bigger task. So that is what is called main thread. So far we have discussed my main thread that has only single flow of execution. It was executing like a single flow of execution. But in this multi-threaded programming, from the main thread or the main function, it will go to different threads. So this is a single thread or simple thread that has a specific task. We name it as a thread A. This is another thread. This is another thread. So thread has to perform its duty. Thread B has to perform its duty. Thread C has to perform its duty. So they can communicate in between and to perform together to get the output of the main program. So the main thread or main program is the control unit which thread to be executed and how, when, and etc. So depends upon the instruction from the main thread. These threads are communicating independently at the same time. So that is what is the concept. The larger program can be divided into small units that are executed parallelly. That result in the effective utilization of the CPU and faster execution of the program. So this is a simple structure of a multi-threaded program. We have a main thread. So that is grouped into different groups, subgroup 1, subgroup 2, subgroup 3, etc. So each subgroup can be further divided into different threads. Thread 1, thread 2, thread 3, thread 4, thread 5, something like that. So the capacity of execution of these independent threads simultaneously to perform the task of subgroup. So likewise each subgroup can be divided into further to perform the task. At the end point, the main function will get the result parallelly at the same time. So this is the difference between multi-processing and multi-threading. So we know a process is something like it has its own resources, it has complete flow of execution, it has its own memory, it has processors, etc. So each individual unit of process has this much resources. So that is why this is a process is called heavyweight compared to a thread. When it comes to the concept of thread, each thread that shares the common resources like program code, the data, the files, memory, everything is shared by the threads. So that is why this is called lightweight process. Lightweight process. This is comparatively heavy because each of these process unit has its own details that mentioned in the process control block. So again, we are consolidating the concept of the thread multi-threaded programming. From this figure, it is very clear. Thread 1, thread 2, multiple threads are there. Each thread has its own duty. Now we are going to discuss the further details of threads. What is the life cycle of thread, how we can create a thread, what are the phases when a thread that is passing through, what are the methods, important methods to be noted while we are discussing the concept of thread. So two or more tasks executing concurrently within a single program is the simplest concept of a thread. It has independent path of execution in a program. You always have a thread in your application even if you don't create it. That is implicitly we are that is the concept behind. If you are not creating explicitly a thread that should contain a main thread, that is main function, that is the single threaded program. So that is the main method is a thread, also known as main thread. So the last point is in Java, it is created and controlled by a package. It is everything that is related to a thread is stored in a package named java.lang. Language is a package. Within the language package, there is a class that is thread class. So this is the basic package of thread class. So this thread class contains all the features and functionalities that should be mentioned in the thread. So this will be the base class. From this thread class, we can create our threads by extending. So every features is has been stored in this thread class. So when we are inheriting or when we are extending a class from this thread class, this derived class get all the properties and features that defined in this main base class.